Hi, welcome to Overdrive. You're watching the show with me, Sohini Das. Now, the MarutiSuzuki S-PRESSO is based on the Japanese K-car platform, and it rivals the likes of the Renault Kwid as well as the Datsun Redigo. Now, its USP lies in its tall stance as well as its roomy cabin, but is that enough to attract buyers? Let's find out.
This is the MarutiSuzuki S-PRESSO. The name is derived from a famous bittersweet Italian coffee, often served as a small shot in a small cup, and that connection is visible the moment you look at the small size of this car. The S-PRESSO was first previewed as the Future S concept at the 2018 Auto Expo. It had quite a flair with narrow lighting elements, the receding roofline, and the muscular wheel arches. The production model of the S-PRESSO loses out on most of that distinctive styling and has a stronger visual connect with the form, design and detailing of the Vitara Brezza instead. Case in point, the boxy stance, the straight lines, the squared wheel arches, the trapezoidal detailing on the slotted grille and the chunky lighting elements at the front and at the rear. Maruti has also thrown in these black bumpers to add a hint of toughness to the overall design of this car. You also have a lot of accessories, alloy wheels, cladding, even two body kit options to make the car either look sporty or more SUV-ish. But honestly, with that black bumper, this one looks more like a jacked up base model Alto than a mini SUV. The S-PRESSO is an inexpensive car, and that shows in its basic form and sometimes leaves you wanting for more. All variants get steel wheels in 13 and 14 inches. In terms of dimensions, the S-PRESSO is marginally smaller than the Kwid and a full size smaller than the KUV100. With a longer wheelbase and a taller height than its hatchback siblings, the S-PRESSO is a roomier alternative to the Suzuki Alto and the Alto K10. Now, Maruti Suzuki insists that this dashboard design is inspired by sport watches, the round dial, chunky buttons and all of that. But it's evident it is inspired by Mini Cooper, especially this huge round bezel that you get on the center console, the round bezels that you get on either sides of the dashboard. All of that is very mini, but it also looks quite nice. I think it looks quite funky. You get it in orange shade only with the orange exterior shade. On the other colors or in lower trims, you have a satin grey, and right at the center of it is a touchscreen infotainment system, the same system that you also get in the Wagon-R. Its placement attracts a lot of glare. And while the display isn't the crispest, the touchscreen is slick and more feature-rich than the competition, with support for external apps, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Sitting on top of the infotainment is the instrumentation, and frankly, it looks quite good. It uses old-school orange colors, but they really go well with the cabin and the overall design. Now, the placement of this instrumentation is not in its conventional position. Now, if this is going to be your first car, you may not like the unconventional placement of this. It is different than probably the car that you learn driving on. However, let me tell you, it's just a matter of getting used to. It's also not intrusive in your peripheral vision, which is again a good thing. There are enough storage spaces for knickknacks and 1-liter bottles, and all of them are easy to access. The boot space is exceptionally good too, and should have decent space even after the CNG variant comes along. All controls inside the cabin fall easily at hand, and the top trim has steering-mounted audio and telephony controls. The rear seat is a flat bench to accommodate two adults in comfort and maybe squeeze a kid in between them. That's about it, but the space is phenomenal. Headroom, excellent. Knee room is superb. The seat is completely retracted backward, and that is the kind of space that I get. And because the seat is set so high, you get a decent amount of foot space as well. So under thigh support is not really a worry. However, the flat contouring is a matter of worry with long distance comfort. I'm not sure if it's going to be very comfortable. And the bigger worry, however, is this very small. I don't know what kind of whiplash protection am I going to get in case there's a rear end collision. Getting back into the driver's seat, I really like the commanding view that this car offers. It's taller than most other hatchbacks that you will buy in this particular space, and that is something that a lot of you will like, and that is something that a lot of you are already expecting since this car calls itself a mini SUV. The A-pillar is quite slim, even the wing mirror is quite small, so this geometry doesn't really intrude into your vision, your peripheral vision, cornering vision. There's a nice airy feel to the cabin, and there's a nice airy feel to the kind of visibility that it offers you as well. In fact, highway speeds isn't the S-PRESSO's thing. 60 to 80 kilometers an hour is the happy zone for this car. Beyond that, the engine gets shouty, the handling dynamics start feeling unnerving, and the steering also refuses to weigh up, adding to that nervousness. The engine is rev happy though, and is the BS6 compliant 1-litre 3-cylinder petrol engine from the Alto K10. It can be had with a 5-speed manual or the automated manual transmission. The automated manual transmission in newer cars like the Swift has set the bar really high for Maruti Suzuki, and from that standpoint, the AGS in this particular car feels a bit old school. There is a pronounced head nod, especially at part throttle when you're moving from first to second or second to third and even third to fourth. Also, at creeping speeds, 10, 15 kilometers an hour, 20 kilometers an hour, there is that pulsating feedback or the pulsating power delivery that is very pronounced. It again reminds you that this is a characteristic of 3-cylinder engines with AMTs, especially in the Maruti stable. In the city environment, you won't need to use the manual shifting often, as the AGS is quite nicely tuned for urban driving conditions. We didn't quite get a chance to drive the manual transmission for a long distance, but it has the same slick shifts and a light clutch pedal that we've experienced even on the WagonR. In fact, the S-PRESSO is very similar to the WagonR in a lot of respects and can be looked upon as a more economical alternative to the WagonR. To answer the question that a lot of you enthusiasts out there asked us, is this as fun to drive as the Alto K10? Well, it's the same Igor engine, but the driving dynamics just don't match up. This car feels tall and unnerving around bends, and the steering responses are just not quick enough. So from that point of view, no. But then again, driving fun isn't the intent of this car. What it is a more practical alternative, a practical approach to the Alto. With its better ground clearance, it has better capability of taking on broken roads, and the roomier cabin just makes it a much better car than any other entry-level hatchback. And if the kind of response that this car has been getting on this drive in Rajasthan is anything to go by, I think Maruti has a car that could generate a lot of interest going forward.
The S-PRESSO does seem to have the makings of a good brew, and I do believe that many will develop a taste for it, especially those people who cannot afford a mini or a full-size SUV. On that note, let's take our first break here on the show. Coming up, we'll get your first ride report of the KTM 790 Duke.